Hello, all you hardcores. How are you doing, Richard?
How you doing, mate? You okay?
All right. Where are you?
I'm down at the flat.
Oh, yeah. Got boat out.
No, mate. I've been out about 20 minutes ago and see if we could do it while I were on there, but it's raining like anything down here. I don't know if it's same in Yorkshire, but it would have been too noisy, but with
All
rain
right.
coming.
We'll get straight into it then. What do you think about fight week and how it's gone so far for John Coffey and Usyk?
I think there's no surprises. I think that I'm excited about it. I think our fight week is going to answer your question. I don't think there's any surprises, is there?
No.
He's full of confidence, and Usyk just being a cool cat all the way through. So there's been no big surprises for me. It's been quite predictable. I think Dubois has been a bit sensitive in regards to not winning any questions about first. Not be a bit sensitive over some of the questions that have been asked during the
Yeah.
one-to-one. Thought that were a bit immature, but at the same time, if he's focused on this fight and that's all he wants to talk about and concentrate on, fair enough. Just a bit disappointing for me that.
What do you think about how Usyk has conducted himself?
I think Usyk is again no surprises there. I think that he'll have prepared. I mean, you're going to probably ask me about what I think about the result anyway later on, but I think he's prepared for again. It sounds cliched. I think he's prepared for lots of different scenarios, but I think mainly he's probably prepared for Dubois trying to jump him and trying to maul him and trying to try and bully him early on. I think there's evidence that in his shiner from sparring. I think he's probably geared his sparring up and told people and sparring partners to try and emulate that sort of fight early on.
Yeah.
Uh, Throw everything at him. That's what I read into that. And he's been working on mainly that game plan. And I think if Dubois tries that, which I think is his best chance, to be honest, I really do think that is his best chance. But if he does try that, I think Usyk's probably got two or three different ways of undoing it. And even though I think that the fight will go into the later stages, 8, 9 rounds minimum, um, if he's not careful, Dubois, he could just walk onto one a lot earlier than that.
Let me just get my mic, Rich. 2 seconds. Let me know what you think about the push on Don Charles.
Uh, it's just normal stuff. I think that Don Charles is Don Charles, isn't he? He's said a lot of things. He's tried to keep, by his own admission, he's tried to say that he's going to try and keep his mouth shut and all the talking's done, but he can't help but sort of insinuate things about Usyk and Usyk's camp, and he's been trying to get under people's skin. So again, that's no real surprise. I don't read too much into it. Me, what do you think? I guess you're still looking for your microphone, eh, bud?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll find that another time. Right, Don Charles altogether, how it's been handled. Do you think the grasping at straws, Richard, with the low blow carry on?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think we might have touched on this a little bit before, but you can't. If I'm not sure about how much integrity there is in boxing, and we had a little conversation, didn't we, about 2 hours ago about a different subject regards integrity in boxing. But I don't know how much integrity there is in boxing. But I said this last time: if there is any integrity in boxing, it'd be with Usyk, wouldn't it? That's what I said last time. The guy is beyond. Until we know something different, unless we find out that he eats children in his spare time, the guy's beyond reproach. I don't actually care if it was above the belt or below the belt. My view is that he would have got up if the referee had started counting. That's just my view. I think that if it was a low blow, he took the right amount of time, and if it wasn't a low blow, he took advantage of it. All boxers take advantage of everything at any possible moment, whether it's Floyd Mayweather hitting off the break, whether it's Tyson Fury helping Dillian White over when he uppercuts at him. It's all part of boxing. Why aren't people focusing on why Dubois got knocked out by a jab? None of Usyk's team have been harping on about that. One of the media guys asked the question, and Usyk didn't make a meal of it. He just said, "I've got an arm jab." But why aren't people asking questions about that rather than the low blow? Why aren't people saying, "Hey, Daniel, how come you went down to a straight jab, mate?" So you can say what you like about the fight. Usyk won. Don Charles is sort of trying to get under somebody's skin in regards to Usyk. They just can't get under. Maybe he's getting under the skin of some of his camp, some of his trainers, and they've been biting a little bit, haven't they? From their response in the press conference, they were biting a little bit. Yeah. But Usyk himself, it's water off a duck's back, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it? It's to Usyk, he's seen every style, he's heard every bit of bravado or whatever you want to call it, banter. He's heard it all, hasn't he?
Well, we all have, Russ. I was thinking about this on the way down. We all have, no matter, can you remember last time on the last video, I was thinking about this on the way down, like I say, when we were talking about Fury, and nobody ever asks them, well, you said you were going to do this and that. You said it were a close fight. You say you got robbed. But why wasn't it easy? You said it was going to be easy. You said it were a rabbit. You said it was going to be a piece of cake. What went wrong, Tyson? I'm changing subjects slightly, so forgive me. But my point I'm trying to make is we hear things all the time. It is what it is. It's just talk. And we all, to some extent, get dragged into it. I certainly don't as much maybe as I did 3 or 4 years ago. I used to enjoy the build-up a lot more than I do now. I'm a little bit worn down by it. He has heard everything, but we all have, Russ. I don't think there's very many situations these days where there really is any genuine dislike for one another or real hatred for somebody, and it doesn't really matter whether it is or it isn't, because they've just got to get in and there's a job to do on end at night. It wouldn't bother me very much if there wasn't a build up to a fight. If it was just scheduled, we got to know about it on the announcement, and we had 2 or 3 days before fight week, one press conference, one weigh-in. Won't bother me at all, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it's bothered Usyk. He just seems to laugh, doesn't he?
Well, he's like you say, and he's 38, isn't he? So he's not just experienced in regards to what he's done in his career. He's experienced and mature as regards his attitude to life. He's 11 years older than Dubois. He's older than most of his opponents that he fights. So forget about boxing and what he's done in his career. Just from a point of view of being a mature human being, he is that. He's sensible. He don't get carried away with it. He's got as much money as anybody else. He's got a right to be not arrogant, but he's got a right to sort of publicise himself and promote himself more than he does. But he's very humble, and he doesn't let it get to him. That's just a sign of a mature bloke who's 38 and can't be arsed with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you never hear him going about money much, do you? Usyk.
No, you don't. And I actually did a bit of research earlier in the week, and the amount of money he earned reportedly from both Fury fights was phenomenal. Was
Yeah.
phenomenal. So, like I say, he's got as much as anybody else. He's in the same. He's at least in the same ballpark as your Joshua's and your Furies and any
Klitschko's and that.
with probably the exception of Mayweather, but anybody else within the game, he's in that league. He's in that top tier. He don't go on about it. He don't publicise anything on social media regarding his family. He don't post any holidays. He don't post anything. All he's bothered about, or so it seems, is being back in the Ukraine with his family and concentrating on being with them.
He
And
leaves
not,
you wanting more, doesn't he? To call time, doesn't he? He doesn't overdo it, does it, like the rest of them?
no, and as we said on the last video, mate, I think that's how he's going to go out as well.
Just
Uh,
on his
I
terms.
don't want him to go on too long. I hate it when fighters go on too long.
Yeah.
But I think he will do that. I think he will walk away and never come back. Very much like a little bit of a different spin on it because Klitschko actually lost, didn't he?
Yeah.
But he has walked away, hasn't he? There's been things mooted about whether there's a comeback or whatever. But he rode off into sunset, didn't he, after 2 losses, mate, or 3 losses. Yeah. But he rode off into sunset after a long period of reigning. And I think Usyk, and that's the mindset, and I think Usyk has got very much the same mindset, but he could very well do it being undefeated. And not many people get to do that, do they?
No, he's done it on road as well, hasn't he?
He's done it the hardest way. I think that from a point of view of being undefeated, and you compare him to other people, there's not many people you can compare him to, because when you talk about Marciano, I think a lot of his fights weren't. A lot of them were very tough against a lot of very tough, experienced guys, but who were journeymen. They were tough guys, but then they were doing it to get a meal on the table, so they were tough. But even Marciano didn't do it the same way as Usyk and Mayweather. In the last 5 years of his career, probably were in the position where he could pick and choose a lot of his opponents. I mean, he didn't fight Pacquiao at the right time. And he didn't do it in the same way. Again, a fantastic record, but who else will end up? Calzaghe did it, obviously, but he didn't fight as many unbelievable people in his era as Usyk will have done by the time he finishes. So who could you compare his record to?
Well, people are saying that I was disrespectful to Evander Holyfield when I was comparing them both, but Holyfield got popped for PEDs, didn't he?
Listen, you've heard me say this before. I think Holyfield is an unbelievable fighter, but I have got my own view on it and my own beliefs, which concur with what you just said. I know how that works. You've got to look at Holyfield when he was a cruiserweight, and look at him when he was an heavyweight, and the difference between Usyk when he was a cruiserweight and when he's an heavyweight doesn't show in the same way. Now, everybody who doesn't take the special sauce, they all don't have muscles on muscles. That's not how it works. It don't work quite like that. But I've got my own view on Holyfield. So even though I think he was an unbelievable fighter, there's only one way he was able to get to that level at heavyweight. And the harsh fact of it remains that as soon as he fought a real tough top heavyweight, apart from Bo, he struggled. He didn't make easy work of Foreman. He won, and he won probably 10 rounds out of 12. He won, but he didn't make easy work of him. That was an old man Foreman. And Lewis dealt with him in both fights, because the draw was a scandal, wasn't it? Lewis dealt with him quite easily. So although I'm a Holyfield, I don't think he compares to Usyk. And that's not disrespectful to Holyfield. And again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got a good record, Holyfield, but for them PEDs for me, that did it. You got that next to your record. You with me?
Yeah, I agree. But I also the issue regarding that, you can only go on what gets proven. But I think that whole era, I mean, it's still going on now, obviously. But I look back on some of those fights and some of those fighters from that era, and my belief is, looking at them, there were lots of people in the 70s, 80s, and 90s where the testing regimes were nowhere near like they are now, even though they're not perfect now, who, I'm convinced that had got some help. Our problem is we can only go on what we know, and we've got to give them the benefit of the doubt if they never got popped for it. But when I look at some of those individuals, and I don't want to start naming on here, but we can have a conversation off of here. Some of those individuals were definitely on something. And that's going right from the 70s through to the 90s and 90s. It was obvious that they were on something.
Oh yeah, I mean, where would you put some of these nowadays? This top 10 in that 90s era.
Well, from the 90s was not a fantastic era for heavyweight boxing. I mean, I heard somebody say this the other day, and I knew this fact, but when you think about Mike Tyson, his fight, so he was already on the decline when he lost to Buster Douglas, which was 1990, and he lost to Lewis 12 years later. That just puts things into perspective for me. So other than sort of coming through the 90s, Lewis, who was unbelievable, he's got to be in a conversation about, top 10, maybe higher of the heavyweights for sure. But and you've got Klitschko, obviously, but there weren't a lot around, were they? It weren't like the 1970s. I don't think the 90s was a golden era for heavyweight boxing. But you did have a dominant. Eventually, when Lewis came in and started to be dominant, and then Klitschko, it was a dominant period for like two guys who didn't get really challenged, did they?
No, not really. No. Lennox Lewis got caught napping twice, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I was thinking about that on the way down as well. When you're talking about sort of how would you compare a Lennox Lewis career to an Usyk career when Usyk hasn't lost? Is it fair just to say Usyk maybe edges that one just because he's not got any defeats on his record? But I do think, trying to give Lewis the benefit of the doubt, I think exactly like you, he got caught napping. But should he be excused for that? Because you can cry all you want, can't you? Protect yourself at all times, and you shouldn't get caught napping. But the good thing about Lewis is he came back from avenging him, didn't he? And he showed his true dominance. After he had those defeats. So it wasn't those defeats that he had. He could fight those guys 49 times out of 50. He'd win, wouldn't
he? Yeah. Oh yeah. Telling you. So what have you got then on the night, Usyk or Dubois, Richard?
I've got Usyk. I'm not going to bet. I've bet against Usyk twice. I've lost twice. I'm not going to bet against him on. And I'm going to have a bet tonight. But I'm not going to bet against him again. I think that it's going to be all downhill for Dubois, like a lot of people think the same. I'm not being listening to them. I'm just agreeing with their opinion. I think after 6 rounds, it is definitely all downhill for Dubois. And it'll be a case of either Usyk winning every single round after 6 rounds, or stopping him in 8, 9 when Dubois gets tired, and he does get tired. he does get tired. He gets more tired than Usyk in later rounds.
Yeah.
And as long as Usyk can age like milk since his last fight, I think that could be his undoing. So I'm going with Usyk to answer your question. Do I think Dubois has got a chance? Very tiny. And it would be a bit of a shock to me if he did catch him and knock him out. But again, choosing a really old cliche, that you just put that down to heavyweight boxing, wouldn't you, if it did happen?
Yeah. Okay, well, I've got Usyk by stoppage. So, Bean says it's treasure after treasure. 2025 is boxing's best year ever. Is he getting carried away with his position at DAZN, or do you agree? Because he's reeling off the fights. We'll come to this one in a minute. Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul, Crawford, Canelo, Daniel Dubois, Usyk. Well, when he reels them off, you can pick holes in all of them. Crawford Canelo's a former lightweight champion against a former light heavyweight champion. Now, we have weight divisions for a reason. So there's that one. The Dubois against Usyk, he lost every round in that other one, didn't he? The pulled wool over everybody's eyes, making out it's a 50-50. Oh, and Usyk could be over ill, and last thing you lose is your power and all this nonsense. Look, and he's only got to hit him once. You've seen what he can do. Well, he didn't do out in that first fight, did he? You know.
Well, I think again, it's how you look at this, Russ. I think he's probably coming at it from he's not coming at it from an hardcore boxing point of view, an hardcore fans point of view. If he's talking about best year ever from an hardcore fans point of view, he's wrong. If he's saying that
Paul and Joshua, come on, is that where we're at now?
Exactly. But if he's coming at it from, we are giving the general public stuff that they want to see, and to satisfy people's morbid curiosity and appetite for cack, well, he's right. Because if Joshua fights Jake Paul, they'll put it on Netflix, or they'll put it on Amazon Prime, or they'll put it on some streaming service, and it'll generate or YouTube, and it'll generate a fortune. Because you'll get people just like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul did. This will generate bigger numbers because you've got a potential live current heavyweight, and is potentially going to put a YouTuber on orbit, all things being fair. So people will tune into that, almost like witnessing a live execution on air. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
saying, because Joshua's not going to play about with him. Do you know what I mean? He's just going to put him to sleep. Now, is this what we're wanting now as the public? Is it it's a bit like that Jason Statham Death Race DVD I watched overnight? It's is this what the public want? Because somebody's going to get hurt, Richard, for doing
well,
that.
You and I can remember the original Sylvester Stallone Death Race, can't we? That's
1976, 75. Yeah. Sorry, Machine Gun Joe.
Yeah, you've got it. Yeah, we are. We're at that stage, and we're not just at it now. We've been at it for the last 5-10 years, maybe. We're a voyeuristic species who will definitely tune in to watch almost anything. I mean, we've had this conversation before. You look at some of the YouTube stuff on there, and some videos of people doing the most ridiculous thing have got hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, and you think, how on earth has that happened? You've got people making millions of pounds by going on OnlyFans and they're well past the sell-by date, because people want to have always been curious what that celebrity looked like, half naked or naked, and they're willing to pay whatever it is just to see it, because $7.99, I don't know how much it is, $7.99, $9.99, $12.99, or whatever it is. That, in the grand scheme of things, is a couple of coffees. But if you get enough people doing it, it generates millions. And that's what people do. It's just so It's volume driven. So the price point might not be that much. Like I say, it's a cup of coffee or a couple of coffees, but you get millions paying for it and you get multi-millions generated. And that's why they do it.
Yeah, but my argument is this: we're being saying it's treasure after treasure. What Dylan White being fed to Moses? And listen, point I want to make is this: how much longer, if this does happen with Joshua and Jake Paul, can Anthony Joshua be protected? Because he's been protected all his career, and now it's just—I mean, since he Usyk done him, he's had Franklin, who he won't have as a sparring partner. Ngannou, who'd had one fight. Elenius and Wallin, both sparring partners. Then Dubois finished him off. They're now talking 150 million to fight Jake Paul, right, in a proper boxing fight. But what then? Is the Fury fight even further away then?
Well, to answer your question, Joshua is in a no lose situation because he will annihilate Jake Paul. And then he'll just go, right, I'm going back to my day job now because I've given everybody what they wanted. It was just like, it's like Tyson Fury stepping into WWE and then stepping back in the ring to fight Usyk in between. It's just, or fighting Ngannou. It's in that same area, mate. So for Joshua, he's in a no-lose situation. It's like somebody giving him free money. And as soon as he's taken that free money, he can get back on the treadmill. And if somebody were going to offer me 150 mil for doing that, you would do it, no matter how much money you've got. So to answer your question, it won't make any difference to the Anthony Joshua freight train. It'll keep on rolling, mate. The only thing that could stop that is if he slipped and fell onto Jake Paul's uppercut as he was falling down. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that could stop that, and that's not going to happen, is it? No, so he'll just carry on.
I said not for that kind of money because Joshua's not going to want to miss that payday, so he'll just have a steady camp, won't he?
Yeah, he'll just have a steady. All he needs is a steady camp. I don't think Jake Paul has ever experienced anything like that caliber of individual when he's even been sparring. He's sparring club fighters. We saw how he went on against Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury beat him quite convincingly, and we know what level he's at. Now, I know that a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, but he's not improved much since then. That's where he is. So yeah, Joshua doesn't have to take that too seriously, and he'll put him away in good fashion. He'll just keep marching on. Would you watch it, Russ?
Is what?
Would you watch it?
What, Joshua Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we get to see him put on button lung for good, won't we? Jake Paul.
Yeah, and I think you and 100 million other people around the world. I don't know how many followers Jake Paul's got on Instagram, but it's not far off of that, you know. So just say tenner and want to pay 10 quid to see it.
Has boxing sold its soul, do you think, Rich, in the last 2 years? And the people.
Yeah, much as many sports have, mate. Much as many sports have. You know, you could say same about cricket, football. It's moved away from where it was a long way, and it's been dictated to by money and media, and that's the trend it's following. It's not always good to see. So I think, yeah, again, to answer your question, it has. But I think we can either you can either sort of lament about the good old days, and I like to do that, and I know you do. We like to talk about it, and we like to lament about the good old days, but they're gone. So all we can do now is we're at an age where we've got the memories of that. We witnessed some of that, and the people that are knocking about now, whether they're hardcore or casuals, below a certain age, they're just going to have more of what they've been fed for the last 5 or 10 years, and it's not going to get any better, mate.
Yeah, it's just that I'm looking at it from outside here. We've got people like Sam Jones hammering Chris Eubank on in interviews and bigging up Turkey and saying you fucking need Turkey and all this. And then we've got Eddie Hills waxing lyrical about his text messages off Turkey. And these are grown men that they're behaving like blowjobs, aren't they? It's embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean,
They're going above and beyond, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They're going above and beyond.
it's more embarrassing for Eddie because Eddie, I can see Sam Jones trying to pick up any crumb he can. He needs to be doing that because I don't know his personal situation, but I get it gives the impression that he needs every single crumb he gets. Eddie Hearn doesn't really need that, so it's a little bit worse to see it happen from him, But they're all the same, Brick Top's the same, Ben Shalom's the same, the broadcasters are the same. There's a new sheriff in town, and they're all falling into line, aren't they?
Yeah. It looks like they're going to go. It's big freeze against TKV for British. So Rhino's missed out on his British title shot. Eddie's not happy with that. Where's Rhino go now?
That's a good question. If nothing happens in the next couple of weeks, I can only see a trilogy because I've said this on the last video. It's all about momentum with him. He's going to fade. He's going to fade from the memory pretty quickly, apart from hardcore fans who obviously know about him from what happened a couple of months ago. That's going to go. So the only option he's got, if something doesn't happen in the next couple of weeks, is probably a trilogy with his mate. I can't see any other fight. No, nobody's bothered about fighting. He's not a draw, is he? He's not going to pull a lot of tickets in.
Yeah.
So who's he going to fight? He's reliant on Fisher for tickets. He's reliant on Fisher for what's happened in the last two fights. Other than that, how does he fill a stadium or fill an arena? Even sorry, he's not going to fill a stadium. But how does he fill an arena or contribute to fill an arena? He's got to be a chief support, hasn't he?
Yeah. I said all along they'll dick him about because they've got it on paper. That's Fisher's best money earner because who else can they put Fisher in with now? If he goes downscale, he could get picked up and lose. So they've got to go for trilogy. You've got to look how accountants' minds work.
Yeah, and the top and bottom of it is, even if Fisher loses that trilogy on the record books, it's still only a 2-1.
Yeah, but he's still in the same position he is now. So they're thinking, well, let's throw him in again. And if he gets wasted, then we'll bring him back and prop shows up on a lesser scale. Do you know what I mean? So they're not bothered matchroom, are they?
No, I agree with you. That's exactly how I think. I think he can take another loss and come back. So I think
he can off Allen, but if he takes a loss against Fred Blow from Latvia, that's like Walter Fury's just done. It's game, set, and match for him, isn't it, Elmer?
Yeah, exactly right. I agree with you.
A bit like Joshua. They're going to get him a cream puff to fill 6 or 7, 8 months in, aren't they? So if they get him Jake Paul, he could take another 6 or 7 months off then. And they're still in mix after a win, aren't they? And they've lined the pockets, and the Fury fight's always going to be there. You see where I'm coming from? And then we go again, don't we? More talk about Fury Joshua, which has done our heads in, hasn't it, 14 years?
Well, the thing about it is, mate, they're still in their mid to late 30s. So we could even be talking about this. We could be talking about two fighters in 5 years that have still never met, but they're young enough at 40-ish to perceive to be of still in decent nick. And we could still be talking about a fight in 5 years' time if they've never met, if they fancy it, or they just, the pile's running down faster than they would like, because the pile of money that they both got is going to take a long time to run out.
Yeah.
No matter how stupid they are or not. But if it is starting to drift away, there's always that fight in 4 or 5 years' time that'll generate some income. They've always got that to fall back on, and they know that.
Yeah, yeah, we do, mate. We do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving backwards. We'll finish off on this one. Last 4 minutes. Eubank, Ben. It looks like Eubank's dicked him off.
Yeah, surprise! I weren't expecting that. I don't know how genuine it is, or whether he's holding out for more money, or he's just. I think this, Russ. As far as I'm aware, in the contract, it's the same. He's already signed that contract, and the clause regarding weight is the same. So the only way he can currently fight Ben is if he adheres to that contract, unless potentially he says he's retiring. If he says he's retiring, or he don't want to take that fight, then it potentially brings Matchroom and Ben to the table, because there's so much money involved, to say, okay, in that case, then we will move on the weight. And maybe Eubank's doing it for that reason.
Yeah. Well, Eubank will get filled in if he fights Stevenson.
To leave that table, do you?
Hey?
I don't think Eubank wants to leave that money on the table. I think he
No,
might.
he's just going to let him wait and go have a bit of play, have a bit of a play and all that, and then get his strength up and all that. He's just going to keep him hanging about, and it's always going to be there, that fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, mate.
All right, mate. You have a good weekend.
You have a good weekend, and we'll speak again. Cheers.
All right. See you later.
Right. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Nice to have Richard on out there in sunny Lincolnshire. That's it. If you want to have a bit of a look at something cool, click on the link in the comment section that I've pinned. Just click on that. All right. Enjoy. Pop, pop, bang. Booyaka.